Scared to be Lonely is not a love song. It's a confession from two people who already know the relationship is dead but are too afraid of the silence that comes after. This song doesn't romanticize love. It exposes dependency. From the very first line, there's no illusion of stability. Dua Lipa isn't singing from a place of hope, she's singing from the emotional aftermath, where the fights keep repeating, the apologies keep losing meaning, and the connection exists more out of habit than desire. This is a song about staying, not because it's good, but because leaving feels worse. And that's what makes it uncomfortable. At its core, Scared to be Lonely is about emotional paralysis. Two people who recognize the damage they're doing to each other but continue anyway, because loneliness feels like a deeper threat than pain. The relationship has become familiar suffering, predictable, painful, but known. And humans will choose familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom every time. That's the psychology behind this song. When Dua sings, "It was great at the very start," hands on each other, she's not reminiscing fondly. She's contrasting. She's showing you how every toxic relationship begins the same way, intensity mistaken for intimacy, passion mistaken for compatibility. The early highs become emotional evidence that keeps people stuck long after the lows take over. This is how attachment forms. Not through consistency, but through contrast. The more chaotic the relationship becomes, the more addictive it feels. Because the highs feel higher when they follow destruction. This song understands that dynamic perfectly. It doesn't describe love, it describes emotional addiction. And Martin Garrix's production reinforces this. The drop doesn't explode with joy. It pulses. It loops. It feels suspended, unresolved, like a relationship that never truly moves forward or ends. The beat keeps you stuck in the same emotional room, unable to leave. Then comes the central confession. Why am I scared to be lonely? This is not a rhetorical question. It's self-interrogation. Loneliness here isn't just physical solitude. It's the fear of sitting with yourself. The fear of confronting who you are without someone to distract you. The fear that without this relationship, even a broken one, you'll be forced to face emptiness, insecurity, and unresolved trauma. This is why people stay too long. The song reveals something most people avoid admitting. Sometimes relationships don't end because there's still love, they continue because there's fear. Fear of quiet. Fear of nights alone. Fear of not being chosen. Fear of realizing you stayed in something toxic because you didn't believe you deserved better. When Dua sings about fighting, leaving, then coming back, it's not dramatization. It's a loop. A cycle so many people recognize instantly but rarely escape. Arguments don't resolve anything, they just reset the clock until the next breakdown. This is not romance. It's emotional inertia. The line, "I don't want to be lonely tonight," is devastating in its honesty. Not forever. Not for life. Just tonight. This is the psychology of avoidance. People don't stay because they can't imagine a future alone, they stay because they can't handle the present moment without someone beside them. One night becomes 1 week. 1 week becomes years. The tragedy of the song is that both people know what's happening. There's no villain here. No betrayal. No dramatic ending. Just two people quietly choosing the wrong thing because it feels safer than the unknown. And this is where the song becomes a mirror. Because Scared to be Lonely isn't really about romantic relationships. It's about attachment wounds. About how people use relationships as emotional crutches instead of connections. About how fear masquerades as love. The song asks a brutal question. Are you with them because you want them, or because you don't want to be alone? That question dismantles a lot of relationships. The music video deepens this meaning visually. Dua Lipa is shown alone in a massive, empty house, a symbol of emotional isolation even when surrounded by comfort. The luxury doesn't save her. The space doesn't help. Because loneliness isn't about environment, it's about connection to self. The house feels cold, sterile, oversized. Just like relationships that look perfect from the outside but feel hollow inside. The choreography reflects internal conflict, tension, hesitation, restraint. Nothing flows naturally. Everything feels forced, rehearsed, controlled. This mirrors the relationship itself. Martin Garrix's presence is distant, fragmented, almost symbolic rather than physical. He represents emotional absence, being there but not present, involved but detached. This isn't two people colliding. It's two people orbiting each other without truly meeting. The song also touches on ego and pride. Leaving would mean admitting failure. Admitting you chose wrong. Admitting you ignored red flags. Admitting you invested time into something that couldn't survive. And for many people, that admission feels worse than staying. So they convince themselves it's love. They rename fear as commitment. They call attachment loyalty. This song strips that illusion away. What makes Scared to Be Lonely powerful is that it doesn't resolve. There's no redemption arc. No lesson neatly wrapped in hope. The song ends exactly where it begins, in uncertainty. Because that's how these relationships end in real life, not with closure, but with exhaustion. Eventually, someone leaves. Or worse, they stay until there's nothing left of themselves. This is why the song resonates so deeply. Almost everyone has been here. Or is here. Or will be here. In a relationship that feels wrong but feels safer than solitude. In a dynamic where you know the answer but delay the decision. The song doesn't judge. It exposes. It understands that loneliness isn't always worse than pain, it's just unfamiliar. And humans fear unfamiliar silence more than familiar suffering. The real message of Scared to Be Lonely is not stay or leave. It's awareness. It's forcing you to confront the reason you're holding on. Because once you answer that honestly, the relationship either transforms, or ends. And that's the part most people are afraid of. In the end, Scared to Be Lonely is a song about emotional honesty that most people avoid. It's not asking you who you love. It's asking you who you're afraid to be without. And sometimes, the scariest thing isn't being alone. It's realizing you already are.